The wrong call. The galaxy was quiet that night. Stars stretched far across the dark, endless sky, and ships moved like tiny shadows between them. In a remote corner, far away from trade routes and council stations, an alien fleet was struggling. Their engines were broken, their shields were weak, and their supplies were almost gone. Fear spread among their crews, because they knew an enemy fleet was chasing them. Their only hope was to send a desperate SOS signal into the void, a cry for help to anyone who might hear. The alien commander pressed the signal controls with shaking hands. The message carried their coordinates and one single word: help. They believed their allies from the Galactic Council would respond. They believed rescue ships would arrive and save them. But the galaxy had many ears, and sometimes a signal does not go where it is meant to go. The SOS signal traveled beyond the expected routes. It slipped through wormholes, bounced across satellites, and crossed silent regions that no alien dared to map. It went farther than their science had measured, until it touched a place no one had spoken about for generations. That place was Earth's hidden space, a place aliens believed was empty, forgotten and silent. But Earth was not silent. Far beneath the shadow of forgotten moons, a warship waited. It was old, older than most alien empires, but its steel still gleamed. It was large, a titan floating in the dark, and inside it humans watched. When the SOS signal reached its systems, alarms woke from deep sleep. For a long time the ship had listened to the stars, waiting for a call. Now that call had arrived. On the alien fleet, the commander stared at the blank screen. Hours passed and no help came. He began to fear that no one had heard them. Soldiers whispered of defeat. Others prayed to their gods. The commander told them to stay strong. He promised rescue was near, but his heart was heavy. Then one of the alien scouts cried out, "Object detected!" Massive structure approaching from the void. At first they thought it was their allies, but as the image appeared on the screen, silence filled the room. The ship was not like anything they had ever seen. It was black, built of steel and light. Its outline looked like a giant blade cutting across the stars. It was a human warship. The alien commander's hands froze. He had studied history. He remembered the stories whispered about Earth. Long ago, humans had been members of the Galactic Council, but they had walked away. Or maybe they were forced out. No one agreed on the truth. All that remained were rumors. Rumors of ships so powerful that empires feared them. Most believed those stories were myths, but the sight before his eyes was no myth. The human warship moved slowly. Its engines glowed with a steady fire. Its weapons remained quiet, yet the silence itself felt like a warning. Aliens on every ship held their breath. Some wanted to run, others wanted to open fire, but fear locked them in place. The alien commander gave an order. "Send them a message. Tell them we need help." His officer obeyed. A signal went out, bright and clear, but no answer came back. The human ship just kept moving closer. Its shadow grew larger, swallowing the stars behind it. Crew members trembled, their eyes wide as they felt the weight of something far beyond their control. In that moment, the alien commander understood the mistake. Their SOS had not reached friends. Their call had awakened something much stronger, something the galaxy had forgotten. A human warship. A warship beyond fear. Inside the alien fleet, whispers spread like fire. Some said the humans had returned for revenge. Others believed this was justice from the stars. Nobody knew why the ship had come, but one truth was clear. The wrong call had been made, and now the fate of their fleet was no longer in their own hands. The human warship slowed. It stopped at a distance, then lights flickered across its surface. Energy surged through its systems, and the galaxy around it seemed to hold its breath. The alien commander gripped his chair, his heart racing. The SOS had been answered, but not by the rescue they had prayed for, by something far more dangerous, and in that silence, the story of fear had only begun. The shadow in the stars, the alien fleet floated in silence, every eye fixed on the dark shape that had entered their space. It was not only the size of the human warship that terrified them, it was the way it moved, slow, calm, without fear, like a predator that already knew its prey could not escape. The stars around it seemed dimmer, as if the ship itself swallowed light. It was not just metal and fire, it was a shadow carved from the universe. The alien commander's voice cracked as he tried to sound steady. "Hold your positions, do not provoke it," he ordered. But his soldiers could not hide their trembling. Every story they had heard about humans felt alive in this moment. They remembered words spoken in secret. Humans do not fight for survival. They fight to end threats, and once they come, they do not leave quietly. Scouts sent drones toward the human ship, Tiny machines carrying scanners and codes. They moved fast, flashing their signals of peace. But when they came close, the drones vanished. Not destroyed with fire, not even broken into pieces. They simply blinked out. Gone as if erased from reality, the alien crew gasped. No defense system they knew could do this. Whatever shield covered that ship was beyond science, they understood. Panic rose in the control room. Soldiers shouted about leaving, others about fighting. The commander slammed his hand on the console. "Silence, we must watch first," he said. Yet even he felt powerless, because watching a human warship was like watching a storm approach your fragile home. You know it will strike, and you know you cannot stop it. The human warship still did not fire. It only hovered, waiting, like it was measuring them. Its lights pulsed in patterns. Some thought it was communication. Others thought it was a warning. But no one could read the language of Earth anymore. The Council had erased their records long ago, leaving only shadows and half-truths, and now those shadows had come back in the flesh. Among the younger alien officers, fear turned into questions. One asked, "Why would humans answer our call? Why not ignore it?" Another whispered, "Maybe they were waiting for us to make a mistake." The commander did not answer. His mind was trapped between dread and wonder, because deep down he knew the galaxy had tried to bury Earth's history, and now history itself was answering in steel. Suddenly the human warship shifted. Its weapons rotated, not firing, but aligning. Beams of light glowed at its edges. The energy was quiet, controlled, but powerful enough to split worlds. The alien fleet shivered. 1,000 voices fell silent, because they realized this ship could destroy them in a single breath, and still it waited as if playing with the silence. The commander tried one last time. "Send another message. Make it clear we are not enemies." The officer obeyed. Signals flashed across the void, but again there was no reply. The warship stayed mute, its silence heavier than any spoken threat. And in that silence, every alien heart felt the same truth. They had called for help, but what had answered was beyond mercy. On the farthest ship of the fleet, a young alien pilot stared out the window. Her voice shook as she whispered, "It is not a warship. It is a judgment." Her words spread through the crew. Nobody corrected her, because deep in their souls, they felt she was right. The shadow in the stars had come, and soon it would decide if their lives were worth sparing. The fear begins. The alien fleet drifted in frozen silence. The stars above them burned cold, but inside their ships, hearts raced like fire. The human warship stood before them, not moving closer, not pulling away. It was as if it already owned the space around it, as if the galaxy itself bent to its presence. The alien commander tried to stay calm. He ordered his crew to scan again, but the results brought only more terror. The ship's armor was layered in ways their systems could not measure. Its energy core burned brighter than suns, and its weapons hummed like a beast breathing in the dark. No calculation showed hope. No path showed survival if that ship decided to strike. Whispers filled the alien fleet. Soldiers asked each other if this was the end. Officers wondered if the humans had returned for revenge. Some prayed, others cursed, but all of them knew the same truth. They had called the wrong species. Suddenly, the human ship released a sound. Not words, not language, it was a deep vibration, like thunder rolling across empty space. It shook the walls of alien ships, it rattled their bones. It made their hearts pound with primal fear, because it was not only noise, it was power speaking without voice. The alien commander gripped the console, his face pale as he realized the meaning. The humans were not answering their message. They were showing that they had heard. They were reminding everyone that silence could be louder than words. Then the warship's weapons shifted. One cannon lit with pale blue light. It aimed not at a ship, but at empty space. A beam fired. It tore across the stars, cutting through nothingness. Yet the energy was so strong it bent gravity itself. Waves of force struck the alien fleet, throwing ships off balance. Alarms screamed, crews shouted, but the warship fired no second shot. It only showed what it could do. Fear grew like a storm. The aliens understood. That single beam was a warning, a message clearer than words. Do not test us. The commander felt sweat drip down his neck. He whispered to himself, "They are not here to rescue us," his second officer heard and asked, "Then why are they here?" But the commander had no answer, because even he could not guess the mind of humanity. The younger soldiers stared at the giant warship through their windows. One muttered, "It looks like death itself." Another replied, "No, worse, it looks like choice." They did not know which was more terrifying. The thought of being destroyed, or the thought of being judged. The warship remained still. Its shadow stretched over the alien fleet, and every second of silence made the fear heavier. It was not battle. It was not rescue. It was something far greater, the beginning of a story the aliens had never wanted to be part of. And as the commander looked out into the void, he finally realized the fear had only begun, and it was only going to grow. The clash of wills, the alien commander could no longer wait. His fleet trembled in fear, his officers argued. His soldiers looked ready to break if he did nothing. Panic would destroy them before the human ship even fired. So he forced himself to act. Send reconnaissance drones again. But keep them armed, he ordered. His voice shook, but he tried to sound firm. The drones launched. Small silver machines flying in tight formation. Their scanners glowed. Their weapons charged just in case. They moved toward the human warship like nervous insects approaching a sleeping beast. Every alien eye watched the screens. And then, one by one, the drones vanished again. Not broken, not burned. Simply erased, their signals cut, their bodies gone. The silence that followed was heavier than any explosion. A young officer shouted, "It is playing with us!" Another cried, "It does not even see us as enemies, only as dust." The commander silenced them with a glare, but inside he knew they were right. This was no battle of fleets, it was a battle of wills, and humanity was winning without a word. Then the human warship shifted. From its surface, a ripple of light spread out. It was not an attack, not yet. It was a scan. The alien ships flickered as their systems strained under the invisible wave. Shields weakened, engines coughed, communications went static. Every alien understood what had happened. The humans had read them completely. Their strength, their weakness, their fear, all exposed. Anger sparked among the aliens. Fear had turned into something sharp. "We cannot just wait for death," one captain growled. "Better to strike and fall in honor," another agreed. The commander hesitated. His heart screamed to flee, but his pride whispered to fight. At last he gave the order. "Prepare the cannons. Show them we are not prey." Alien ships lit up with energy. Beams gathered, missiles locked. The fleet that once trembled now tried to stand. They fired. Dozens of blasts tore across space. Explosions filled the void with light, but when the fire faded, the human warship remained untouched. Not a scratch, not a crack. It floated calmly as if the attack was nothing more than rain on stone. Then came the reply. Not a storm, not destruction. Just a single pulse, a beam of pure energy brighter than suns. It did not strike a ship. It struck the empty space between them. The shockwave spread like a wall of fire. Alien ships shook, shields cracked, engines screamed. Crews fell to the ground as alarms wailed. Yet not one ship was destroyed, not yet. The message was clear. The humans could have ended them with ease, but they had chosen not to. That choice was worse than death, because it meant their fate lay in human hands, and nothing terrified them more than waiting for that decision. The alien commander slumped in his chair, his voice low. "We challenged them, and they answered not with hate, but with power," his second officer whispered. "Then what do they want?" But no answer came. Only the sight of the warship, silent, steady, unbroken, watching like a god judging mortals. In that moment, the clash of wills ended, and every alien knew the truth. They had lost not their ships, not their lives, but their courage. And once courage is gone, survival becomes meaningless. Secrets of Earth. The alien fleet floated in silence, broken, humbled, waiting. They had fired all their pride, and the human warship had answered with patience, not rage. That patience was more terrifying than destruction, because it meant the humans had a reason, a plan, a secret too heavy to speak. The alien commander called his council together. Officers, captains, historians, anyone who knew the old tales. Their voices trembled as they spoke. Long ago, they said, Earth had been part of the Galactic Council. Humans had walked among the stars, their minds sharp, their ships strong, their spirit unbroken. But then something had happened. Records claimed Earth was exiled. Others whispered humans had chosen exile themselves, and some said the truth was darker, that the Council feared humanity, because they saw something in humans no other species had. The commander asked, "What did they fear?" An old historian answered, "Not their numbers, not their weapons, but their will." He spoke softly, but every officer leaned closer. Humans fight as if the universe itself bends to their decision. They break limits not with strength alone, but with defiance. That is what the Council feared, a spirit that cannot be chained. The room fell silent. Every alien felt the weight of those words, because now that same spirit stood before them in the form of a warship beyond fear, and they had called it with their own hands. They had summoned the ghost of a power buried in history. The commander's second officer spoke with trembling lips. If they were exiled, why return now? The historian closed his eyes. Because we called them. Because the universe never forgets. And because humans never ignore a cry. They answer, but not always with mercy. The alien commander turned back to the window. The human warship floated steady, its surface covered in scars of battles no alien could name. Its design was old, yet its technology burned brighter than anything in the galaxy. Every scar told a story of survival. Every light told a story of progress. The ship itself was history alive, a reminder that humans had never stopped. They had only hidden, waiting for a call that would bring them back. Some officers argued to flee, others argued to beg, but none could ignore the truth. The SOS had not reached their friends. It had reached Earth, and Earth had answered. Then the warship broke its silence. A single signal flashed across the void. It was not a long speech, not a demand, only a short message. 3 words translated across every screen. "We heard you." The aliens stared at the words in shock. Their hearts pounded because the tone was not cruel, not warm, not hateful, only calm. Calm like a hand that could crush or spare without effort. Calm like judgment, the commander whispered to himself. We asked for help and judgment came instead. His officers looked to him. None knew what to do. Their fate rested not in their strength, not in their weapons, but in the secrets of Earth. Secrets now alive in the warship watching them from the stars. And as silence filled the fleet again, one thought spread in every alien mind. Perhaps the greatest mistake was not calling for help, but forgetting who humanity truly was beyond fear. The alien fleet drifted in silence. Their screens still glowed with the human message. We heard you. 3 words, nothing more. Yet those words weighed heavier than any weapon. The alien commander felt his chest tighten. This was not rescue, not comfort. It was recognition the humans had heard, but what they would do next remained hidden. The waiting gnawed at every mind in the fleet. Fear was no longer just fear. It had become a living thing, wrapping around every heart. Then the human warship moved. Not forward, not closer, but upward, tilting its body toward the stars. Light spread across its surface in lines, patterns shifting like language too old to read. The ship pulsed with energy, and the space around it seemed to bend. Gravity twisted, starlight curved. The universe itself obeyed its presence. An officer whispered, "That is not just a ship. It is a world breaker." Another answered, "No, it is something worse. It is a choice maker." The commander clenched his fists. He wanted to shout, to demand, but his voice refused to leave his throat. The warship finally spoke again. A deep signal echoed into every alien vessel. This time not just 3 words, but a sentence, simple, direct, unshaken. "We do not forget." The words pierced every heart. Soldiers gasped, captains froze. The commander felt his skin grow cold. He remembered the old whispers. The council had feared humanity not for their weapons, but for their memory. Humans never forgot betrayals, never forgot wars, never forgot cries. And now their memory had answered. The alien fleet panicked. Voices shouted across channels. "They know who we are. They remember the past. What if they came to punish us all?" The commander slammed his hand against the console. "Silence, do not fall apart," he demanded. But even his voice trembled because deep inside, he knew this was no rescue mission. This was a reminder that humanity had not vanished. They had only stepped back until the galaxy called them again. The human warship's engines roared, a low hum that rattled the metal of alien ships. Weapons rotated, glowing brighter. Energy spilled into the void, but still no shot was fired. The silence was worse than attack, because it forced every alien to imagine the destruction waiting at a single command. A young alien soldier broke down in tears. "Why us? Why now?" he cried. His captain whispered back, "Because we called them." And they answered. Those words spread like fire. Everyone knew it was true, and everyone wished they could take their call back. The commander bowed his head, his voice soft. They came beyond fear, not to destroy, not to save, but to remind us of what they are. The crew listened in silence. Some shook, some wept, because they knew the truth. They were standing in the shadow of a species that should never have been forgotten, and as the warship's lights burned brighter, as its power filled the stars, every alien felt the same thought rising inside them. This was no enemy, this was no ally. This was humanity beyond fear. The final decision, the alien fleet held its breath. Their ships floated broken and silent. Their crews stared at the great shadow before them, the human warship, massive and eternal. Waiting in calm silence, 3 words still echoed in their minds. "We do not forget." The alien commander felt his body grow heavy. He thought of the stories told in hidden halls. He thought of the warnings ignored by the council, and now those whispers stood before him in steel and light. He bowed his head. He whispered, "Forgive us." Though he did not know if humans could hear, suddenly the warship stirred. Weapons glowed brighter. Engines roared like thunder, its surface lit with a storm of power. The void itself trembled. Alien soldiers screamed. Captains shouted prayers, every ship prepared for the end. Because in that moment they believed humanity had chosen judgment. But then the light faded. The weapons powered down. The storm passed into silence again. The aliens gasped, their voices confused. Why did the humans not strike? Why did they hold back when they had the power to erase them? A final signal came across the void. Simple, sharp, undeniable, live. And remember, the alien commander's eyes widened. His chest shook with relief and fear together. The humans had spared them, not out of weakness, not out of kindness, but as a reminder. A reminder that their survival was not their own. It was a gift given by a power greater than fear. Tears rolled down the faces of young soldiers. Captains lowered their heads, and even the commander felt his pride break. Because he understood the true punishment, not death, but memory. They would live forever with the knowledge that their lives had been left in human hands, and that mercy itself was heavier than destruction. Slowly the warship turned away. Its engines blazed with light. It moved back into the void, its shadow shrinking as it vanished into the stars. Not a word more was spoken, not a weapon fired, only silence remained. And silence was the loudest sound the aliens had ever heard. The alien commander stood, his voice hoarse. "We survived today, but let this be the warning carved in our souls." His officers nodded, his soldiers listened, and every ship recorded the moment in their logs, the moment when humans returned not to destroy, but to remind the galaxy of what it had tried to forget. The fleet limped away from the dark corner of space, but no one among them felt free, because freedom no longer meant running, it meant remembering, and they knew the humans would always remember too. Far away in the shadow of distant stars, the human warship disappeared into the void, waiting, watching, listening for the next call. And in the hearts of the alien fleet, a single truth burned brighter than any sun. Never again would they send a call into the stars without fear of who might answer. Never again would they forget that Earth still lived, and that humanity had returned beyond fear.